The OnePlus 10T is the most pointless phone of 2022. Here's why. Based on the already excellent OnePlus 10 Pro, the 10T packs an even more powerful processor to deliver the best performance around, which it sort of does. But in order to gain that slight and frankly inconsequential boost to power, this phone demands you make some sacrifices to some key features, including the screen, the design, and the camera. And all those compromises make this phone feel like a less premium product as a result. So why do I dislike this phone so much? The OnePlus 10T is packing the latest Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor and a mighty 16GB of RAM, so there's no question that this thing is a powerhouse. But it only really offers marginal gains over the already incredibly powerful 10 Pro, and those gains are really things that you'll only see if you're running benchmark tests. The reality is that in everyday use, most of us won't need or even notice that extra speed. The 10 Pro was already potent enough to handle absolutely everything you can throw at it. Playing demanding games like Asphalt 9 Legends or PUBG, all at maxed out settings, I could see no discernible difference in performance between the 10 Pro and the new 10T. General performance as you navigate around the phone is exactly the same, and the extra power isn't going to help you post videos to TikTok any quicker. So then, what's the point? It's like deciding to go for a 170mph sports car instead of a 160mph one, even though you're only going to be driving to work and back on 60mph roads. That extra speed just isn't necessary. But to get that speed, this phone does make some big sacrifices. The display has a lower resolution, giving the 10T a pixel density of 394 ppi against the 10 Pro's 525 ppi. And I think colours look better on the 10 Pro as well. Also, while the 10 Pro's screen is curved nicely at the edges, the 10T's is flat all the way across. And it definitely loses some of that premium feel as a result. And that's true of the back as well, with a very glossy cover which is slippy to hold and shows up more fingerprints than an average season of CSI. I'll take the sophisticated sandblasted back of the 10 Pro any day. And then the cameras take a hit in pursuit of that power. With the OnePlus Hasselblad partnership not extending to the 10T, that camera hardware has taken a dive with a 50MP main sensor, an 8MP ultra-wide, and a frankly worthless 2MP macro camera. And that is a big step down from the 10 Pro, which has a 48MP main camera, a 50MP ultra-wide, and an 8MP telephoto zoom. It's not that the 10T can't take good photos, because it can if the conditions are good enough. It just doesn't compete with the 10 Pro, especially not with ultra-wide shots. So it is disappointing that you have to sacrifice that camera performance just to get that marginal gain in speed. Battery charging does get a boost in the 10T with a 150-watt fast charging available, which does trump the 80-watt fast charging found on the 10 Pro. Now on paper, that should mean that the 10T can recharge from empty to full in about 20 minutes, whereas the 10 Pro will do the same in about 30 minutes. Okay, sure, the 10T does do that faster, but the 10 Pro is already one of the fastest charging phones on the market. And personally, I just don't see that 10 minutes really making a significant difference in my life. A compatible fast charger is included in the box though, so at least you don't have to factor that into your budget. I have found that battery life is generally on par with the 10 Pro. After an hour of streaming YouTube over Wi-Fi at max brightness, both phones had dropped from full to about 92% remaining. And that's not bad, you certainly won't struggle to get a full day of use out of it, and of course with that fast charging, getting a bit more juice back inside if you start to run out at the end of a day will not take very long. The phone arrives with Android 12 on board, but it is due to get an update to Android 13 before the end of the year, although for some reason the 10 Pro will get it first. The problem with the 10T then is that it feels like OnePlus has rushed it out just for the sake of being able to say that they've got the most powerful chip in their phone. despite it already being available on other handsets, some of which actually cost less. Because let's not forget that the 10 Pro went on sale in April this year, so 4 months later, we've already got a new iteration. 4 months. At a time when we should be applauding companies for not pumping out new versions of phones so quickly just for bragging rights, OnePlus has gone the other way. It hurried out a product that offers very little real benefit over the existing, and let's not forget, superb 10 Pro. Instead of half-ass launching this confusing mess of a phone, I would much rather have seen OnePlus hold on to those features, refine them, and then actually put them into a good flagship replacement next year. One that doesn't force you to make sacrifices to specs and performance elsewhere. So I'm disappointed in OnePlus here, and I can confidently say that if you are looking for the best experience that the company can offer, the OnePlus 10 Pro is still the phone to get. But what do you think to the OnePlus 10T? Is that extra little bit of speed actually going to revolutionize your existence, or is it just a bit of disappointment? Do make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to check the description of this video for a lot more information.